I'm gonna start the recording, but I'm still gonna wait another minute because
Yeah.
there's always
I,
an agent or two that
I
helps.
think that agent call just to introduce yourself and build that relationship and shoot the shit is so important when I used to sell properties.
Yep.
You're gonna feel that guy out. You're gonna know if he's gonna be cool, if he's gonna, because that will, when my buyer or when my sellers ask me, who do you think, that's gonna take some toll. That's
Yeah.
right.
Yep. It's funny is that's actually part of my presentation is so I just closed on a deal. I did a video last night. I gave my client her keys. My client got a house in Vallejo and she bought a duplex that had an assumable rate on it at 2 point and actually I thought it was 2.6. I got to her house yesterday. She's like, my rate is 2.375. Her payment is $1,900 on a duplex, and her best friend is going to live in one side and rent for 1,600. Literally, her payment is less than $1,000 for all of her taxes, all of her insurance, the water, sewer, garbage, everything. Her payment is less than $1,000,
And she gets to live rent free.
and yeah, pretty much. And her best friend is her next door neighbor, and she only put 30,000 down. And she's not even getting a 30-year loan. She's getting a 26-year loan because the other person had owned it for 4 years.
Wow.
But I'm going to describe my conversation with that guy. So that was just a crazy one. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. I want to make sure you guys can all see. I've just got it kind of set up as a Word doc here. I'm not a big slides person and all the things. So hopefully you guys can all see my screen.
Yep.
Cool. So I will jump in. If anybody comes in, I'll just let them in. But one of the biggest things I find that when agents are making offers is they're not doing a lot of the due diligence. You think my buyer is my person, and this is the only person I need to really kind of tie in to this offer. But there's actually a lot of players inside our offers. You got the listing agent, you got the sellers, you got whoever your escrow company is going to be, you got your lender as a part of that, you got your buyer, and you got yourself. So there's all these different pieces that are a part of that. And so that's why I want to talk to you guys about today. So presenting an offer to a listing agent starts way before you send them an email with the signed offer. And so I'm going to cover some key facts with you guys. So first and foremost, you guys need to start having conversations with those listing agents immediately. Every property I show, I call the listing agent. And I know it may, even if they're in MLS, it says text agent, I pick up the phone. And I just tell them, oh, you know what? I'm driving in the car. It's easier for me to call than to try and text. Whatever reason. It's just I want to talk. I want to hear a voice. And it's funny, we were talking before this video started about a property I just closed, but I literally called an agent and was like, listen, I'm like, you guys have been on the market for 289 days. You're a duplex. I mean, like the weeds are growing up around it. Like, tell me the story about this thing. And he said, you know what? I don't do anything on the phone. Everything is email communication, so I can record every conversation. And I was like, oh crap, this is the start of my conversation
Yeah.
with this guy. And my client had already, no, had we gone to see it? I can't remember exactly, but I was just interacting with him and he was like, nope, no conversation, no nothing. It was just unbelievable. So, you will find, yes, there are agents out there that are going to make your life just not fun. It is still in your best interest to try and have those dialogues. And here's the thing I want you guys to realize is you're not only preparing and having dialogue with this agent on this one conversation, on this one listing. You're actually setting yourself up for how you do business for all of your clients. And keep in mind, you're going to see that listing agent, I promise you, more times than you're going to see your buyer through the conversation, through the transaction, and in the future. So it's funny, I'll have conversations with agents and they're like, Gary, we did a deal 8 years ago. And I'm like, sure, okay. I don't remember that, but I mean, I'm going to run into that agent again before I end up selling my client, their next move up house or an investment property or things like that. So you're building relationship and you're going to be showing who you are as you move forward. So that other agents say, oh, Jason White's calling. I've done a deal with that guy, man. He was super cool. He was easy to work with. Irene Fairman has great contracts. She's always, I's dotted, T's crossed. That's how you're going to be seen out there. So this is why this is so important. So when you guys are calling, you got to ask great questions and you got to do what you can to engage that agent. Like Jason was saying a little bit earlier, is you're trying to build friendship. You're trying to ultimately, I could say, you're trying to build a bridge. And in that, it is, hey, I'm this person. it doesn't matter what company I'm with, doesn't matter, but I have this buyer and I'm going to be the channel of communication. So here's what my buyer is trying to accomplish. Can you and I figure out a way to make this happen? And so, like I said, that's what's building that bridge. First thing I always ask, of course, is, hey, do you guys have any offers? Because I want to know, am I getting ready to show a house? And they're like, oh, yeah, sorry, I already got three offers. Like my listing on Greenbelt. I had already presented the offers on, I think it was Monday night or no, Sunday afternoon. I got calls on Monday. I'm like, hey, I got counters out already. I'm sorry. We're going pending, in an hour or two. So that way that person knew, hey, let's not take too much time. I always try and engage, like, hey, where are your clients going? Like, what's the scoop on them? Like, and hey, my clients are moving out of state. My clients are, they're moving up, their family's growing, or hey, the kids are all out of the house, they're empty nesting, they're going to be downsizing, they're going to a 55 and over community, whatever it is. Like I said, just trying to ask those questions so that I can engage with them and find out what it is a little bit about them. What's most important to the sellers? Hey, do they need a long escrow? Do they want a quick close? Do they need a rent back? It's funny how a lot of us will say, oh, well, I've got a cash offer and it's a 10-day close. Well, that's fantastic that you have a cash offer and it's a 10-day close because it's a Bay Area person moving up here. But my clients on Greenville, they've been in their house for 36 years. They asked for a 60-day close and they asked for a 15-day rent back after that. So I had a cash offer that was like, hey, we want to close quickly. It was a low offer, didn't really make sense to them, but they didn't ask anything. The agent was just like, here's our cash offer. And it's like, man, you didn't ask any questions. You didn't engage me. You have no interaction with me, and you don't know anything about my seller or my property other than we looked at it. We know that these numbers work for us. That's all that matters to them. That's a one-sided conversation. That is not in any way, shape, or form making mutual communication to get to an end result that works for everyone, right? You guys got any questions yet? Just want to make sure I give you guys opportunity. Okay. And I asked the agent, hey, have you guys opened escrow? What company? Because you'll find most listing agents, if they're a good listing agent, will have opened up escrow. They'll have checked the prelim to make sure that there's, not a solar lien, there's not a divorce, there's not some crazy lien against the property that no one knew about. All that stuff should be done. And that listing agent will be like, yep, we're open at Chicago Title, Margaret Harris. That's who I use at Chicago. Or hey, we're open at Placer Title, Denise Clark. That's who I use at Placer. And you'd be like, cool, I can easily write that in. What that does when you write that into the offer and you ask those questions is you give them one less thing to have to clarify in your offer or counter out of your offer. Even though we're switching from really a listing heavy or a seller's market to a buyer's market, I'm still going to make my offer at least partially what that seller wants. So I feel like the seller and the listing agent feel like they're getting what they want so that I can ask for what I want to help my buyers out. Like, hey, I gave you guys the escrow company you wanted. I gave you the exact escrow time you wanted. I found out all the stories about going on, but hey, I'm going to make a $40,000 less offer. So I'm trying to make it, balance out. Here's a bunch of terms you want, but I need to get to this price down here. So I'm doing all of those things. Okay. Okay. So after the showing, I said if my client has interest, I call the agent again. I'm going to be like, hey, my clients love the house. It looks like it meets, 80% of their needs. And so I want to confirm, you guys want that 30-day escrow and 15-day rent back. You mentioned Chicago Title, Placer, Fidelity, whoever it is. I always like to compliment seller on something on the house. I'll be like, hey, dude, your sellers take such great care of that house. Did they just paint it recently? Yeah, because it really shows well. I try and make some comments like that because I'm trying to just build that bridge. I'm trying to show, good faith and be able to say just, hey, man, we really appreciate all that was going on. I also compliment the agent on something they're doing. Hey, man, I love working with listing agents that, have already, did professional photography, staged their house right, got pre-listing inspections, whatever it is. I try and find something. And like I said, that's all still building bridge, building bridge, building bridge. Any questions yet? No, nothing's good. All right. So you guys are writing up your offer. You've talked to the agent several times. Your clients are happy. They're excited about what's going on. I always make sure to input the seller's information into the contract. And this is, I know this seems super basic, at least to me it does. I've been doing this 22 years. I learned from Steve. If If you guys don't know that, Steve was actually my coach and trainer when I first got in the business. So I learned how to write contracts from Steve. You always put the seller's information into there, whether it's a full name, a trust, LLC, whatever it is, put the seller's information in there. It makes your contract look more complete. Input the agent's data. I don't mean just putting on the page one, they work at Keller Williams and it's Mary Smith and here's their license numbers. On page, I think it's 16 or 17, put the office address, put their email, put their phone number, fill that information out completely. It makes your contract look more precise. It also looks and makes it appear or I guess proves your attention to detail is really what it does. It's your attention to detail that you're not just slapping something together and throwing crap at the wall, right? Every offer should have a minimum of a 1% EMD. If you guys are writing offers, maybe for a VA offer, I might not go in with 1%, especially if they're doing a VA no-no. But anybody out there that is buying FHA, they're doing 20% down, things like that, there should be a minimum of a 1% deposit. So if you're writing an offer at 480, just round it up and make it a $5,000 deposit EMD. And then, of course, if you can, if your clients have 100 grand in the bank and they're putting 20% down, 10% down, use the full 3%. You guys are writing $800,000, 20,000 to 24,000. There's nothing wrong with that. Your people are putting down 200 grand. Putting a 20,000, $24,000 deposit is not a big deal. Make your offer look strong from the very, very beginning. Any questions? Does that seem odd to anybody? Does that seem a little over the top to anybody? Okay, just want to make sure. I mean, when I first got in this business a long, long, long time ago, our deposits were, $1,000. And it was like, man, I mean, that's just the way I was. And like I said, Steve taught me a lot, but we were writing on $100,000 properties and it's like 1% is $1,000. I mean, my first listing was 260 grand, I think. So we were very much different kind of price points back then. So make sure on your offer, all your pertinent boxes are checked, completed and filled out. So the way the new contract is, you got that first 4 pages that's got everything detailed. It's the greatest thing they did was putting all that together in the very front, and then the rest of it is all the wording. You don't have to search page 3 for a box and page 7 for a box. Everything is in that front first. Make sure you check escrow and title. Who's paying those? In your escrow and title, always put the name of the company that your seller is asking for. And it's really, we all know it's not the seller. It's really the listing agent that's putting that in there because it's their company, because they want to keep their people together. They want to keep their team working together because it's going to make it smoother for all of us. If the agent doesn't tell me, or if the agent is just non-existent, I have an agent I wrote offer 3 days ago and sent it out to her. She has never confirmed receipt. It took me 10 days to get a hold of her. I mean, I'm writing an investor offer anyways, but she's out of like San Diego. It's the disaster. So all I put was seller's choice. Like, hey, I'm trying to make this easy on you guys. So I will put seller's choice. But make sure, like I said, all your boxes are filled out. Who's escrow, who's title, who's your NHD company. Make sure you got your taxes, your home warranties, all those things. Make sure all those pieces are filled out. I will also ask the listing agent what NHD company to like. There's a ton of companies out there. I like Fidelity's Crest program. That's just the one I like. I think it's better. Disclosure Source is the name of it. But everybody's, JCP, Snap, blah, 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 whatever. Help to make that what the seller and the listing agent want, so that it's one less thing they have to look at and go, oh, I don't like that company. I'm going to counter that out. Your goal is to try and make this your offer as solid as you can when you first get started. All right. So the last part of that is this. Do not forget to add your compensation at the top, page 3. Make sure you guys put in there your compensation. If you've got your buyer broker signed, hopefully each and every single one of you guys is asking for a full 3%. I actually showed a property on a Saturday morning, and the guy was like, listen, I've bought 5 houses. I never pay 3%. And I'm only willing to pay you 2%. And I had my buyer broker. I was like, at 3%. I'm like, 22 years experience. I go, I am showing you an assumable property that's an investor purchase that has a 2.25% interest rate. No other agent in the entire area could do this the way I'm doing it. So there's no way I'm taking 2%. So he signed my 3% buyer broker agreement, but I just had to show my value to him. And then the same thing when you present your offer, I'm asking for a 3% in my offer. When I'm presenting that offer to the other agent, I'm like, listen, here's the deal. We're asking for a full 3% because I have done X, Y, and Z for my clients, but I've also made you guys a super strong offer in every single aspect I can. Sometimes, money doesn't always get there, but if the rest of the things that you are putting in your offer look solid and meet the seller's needs, then hey, we can negotiate price. That's, what's going to happen. Um, so now that the offer is written, you still have several steps for you guys before you actually even submit the offer. So the offer is written, you've showed the property, you've had conversations with the agent, and now it's time for you to actually get ready to prepare the actual offer to go over to the other side. So you guys should, before you show any properties, have your buyer pre-approved, underwritten, pre-qualified, whatever term your lender wants to use, but that should be done. You should have a copy of that pre-approval. When my clients come to me and say, well, I've got it from Golden One, or my sister works at blah, 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 I say, hey, you know what? That's fantastic. I work very tightly within my team. I would like you to please do me this favor. Could you at least sit down and chat with my lender and get a second opinion? Because what I find is usually my folks are usually a 1/4% better in rates, or they can get your fees down considerably. And I just know that when I work with my team, it just makes everything so smooth through the process. And I don't know who your person is. And so I've got to build that relationship. Sometimes people are like, nope, it's my sister. I'm not going anywhere else. Then that's fine. I call, I have a discussion with the sister. I ask lots of questions. How long you been in the business? Give me the debt ratios. Why are we doing 10% down instead of FHA at 3.5? I ask tons and tons and tons of questions to engage them. And I also tell them, hey, listen, when I submit this offer, I expect that you're going to actually call the listing agent and sing my praises as well as sing the praises of our buyer so that we have another leg up compared to all the other people that wrote offers. So when agents are submitting offers, they're just like, hey, here's the offer. They don't send a text. They don't send, they get send the email. They're not calling after the fact. They're not having the lender call. Those are all things that continue to set you up to make you different and to make you stand out from anybody else. So with your offer, by the time you're ready to submit, it's going to be an email. It's going to go to the listing agent. You're going to provide the lender letter. You're going to provide proof of funds. I don't care if your clients are doing FHA, CHDAP, CalHEF, or whatever, and they're only bringing in $5,000. I want proof of funds from a 401k, from a bank, Wells Fargo, whatever. Hey, I want to see that $5,000. And I would tell them this is another step that makes our offer stronger than anyone else. And no one else is presenting this. Even if they're getting a gift from grandma and grandpa, cool. Get grandma and grandpa write the letter that says, Mary and Bob are getting $25,000 from us as a gift. And here's a copy of our bank statement to show we have the 25 grand to give them. All of those steps continue to put you closer to your offer being accepted. All right. So last thing before we actually step and submit the offer. Any questions yet? And I know I've been just going straight through. Obviously, it's a ton of information. This is being recorded. You guys are going to get a copy of this Word doc also. But is there any questions yet? No? Good?
Gary, do you
Yep.
ever get pushback from clients with doing a 3% earnest EMD?
As long as I explain it to them. So great question, Miriam. Is I try and explain to my clients is our goal is to make your offer the strongest we can make it in every single way possible. And so by doing this, by me doing all these pieces that I'm doing, and I do describe to my clients how I kind of present offers, that I have the lender call, things like that. I say by putting a big, huge earnest money deposit, that shows you're putting your best foot forward. And what it does is it allows us to show that so much strength here that when we come in 20,000 short on their list price, they're going to be like, these people really want this house because they gave us a 10,000 or $15,000 deposit. Yeah, they're shy by 20 grand, but I'm willing to give up, 10 grand and go, split the difference with them because everything else is so strong, exactly like what we need for us to move out of state, move downsize, whatever it is. So that's how I describe it. And I tell my clients, if you want your offer to be weak, we could do $1,000. And then now you have really no shot of getting your offer accepted. And depends on how well I know my client, if I'm kind of play that strong side, but I just try and describe the value and help them to understand is this is coming in strong so that if we're weak anywhere else, the fact that we're FHA or we're asking for closing cost credits, this is something that balances out that teeter-totter. Does that make sense? Okay, cool. All right, so final step is submitting your offer. You guys might think this is the easy part, but this is something that absolutely positively must be done. When emailing your offer, give the highlights of your offer in the email. Some people use the transaction cover sheet, which actually has it also. But when an email opens, especially agents, we're all looking through everything on our phone. We're trying to read it on a 3.5-inch screen. And I got to find the, download. I got to pull the PDF. I got to pop it up. And then I got to still read it. It's so much easier to put the terms in. Give them the highlights. Here's our offer price. Here's our deposit. We're FHA. Close of escrow is 30 days. I'm asking for 3% for agent commission. We're asking for a 10K concession. Escrow and title split 50-50. Buyer's paying home warranty and 10-day contingencies. Like just drop it down for them. Bullet point it for them. It makes it so easy for someone to just pop open the phone and go, oh, well, that's actually a pretty good offer. Versus I got to wait till I get back home because I'm trying to drive to my appointment and I got to wait till I get on my computer so I can open it up and read through all the pages. Do a quick term sheet or, like I said, bullet point the information specifically in your email right up front. It is the easiest thing you can do and it gives them the highlights right there in front of you guys. Okay. Now you're going to send over the offer, pre-approval, proof of funds, copy your lender on the email. And then you already should have had a discussion with your lender that says, listen, as soon as you see this email come across that I've submitted this offer, I expect you as my lender, Pitt Miller, Eric Ingman, Beth Bloom, whoever, Stacy Medina, whoever you use, I expect you to call the listing agent and tell the listing agent how strong our offer is. Talk credit scores, talk debt to income ratio, talk the fact they've been on their job for 20 years, their credit score is 800, whatever it is. But I also expect that lender to be like, I've worked with Gary for 15 years. He is a top-notch agent. So they're talking about me and how this is going to be a great transaction for all of us because it's going to be smooth. And we're a team on this side and there's a team on this side and we're all going to work together smoothly. I would set that expectation for every single one of your lenders. And if they're not willing to do that, you need to find a new lender. Okay. All right. Finally, your offer is over. Always put, please, confirm receipt. Then the last thing I do is I always do this. I shoot a video. I hit record on my phone and I go, hey, Jason, it's Gary Meek over at EXP. Hey, listen, I got 123 Main Street. I just wrote you an astounding offer. It's amazing. It's beautiful. I just play it up. I act kind of goofy. I go, it is in your inbox right now. You're going to be getting a call from the lender to talk about how great our clients are. Really excited to present you this offer. Hoping to hear from you in the next 24 to 48 hours. And yeah, we'll be talking to you soon. I do that on every single offer. I have had agents call me and be like, dude, I've never had an agent do this before. Like, dude, you're funny. You're awesome. I appreciate it. I knew that the offer was in my inbox. I like the fact that it's all highlighted in detail on page 1. Like, dude, you're not even the best offer, but we're going to go with you because I have a feeling this is going to be easy the rest of the transaction. And Jason actually asked this question before we even started recording was, I've had agents go to their sellers and be like, listen, we got 3 offers, but honestly, this third guy, even though the lowest offer, they're only off by, 3%. You know what? I say we counter him because that's going to be the deal that is going to be the smoothest transaction for all of us as a whole. And I've already talked to Gary and I've kind of built the relationship with them. And I'm confident he'll come up to at least the best offer, maybe even a couple grand more just to make sure he's better. And he's going to make your life easy. He's going to make my life easy. It's going to be smooth for all of us. And that is that relationship that you started from, might only be 3 days ago, but you've built relationship step by step by step by step going through that process. I submitted or I presented offers on Sunday. Cash offer, no call, no text, no nothing. The agent had messaged me and said, "Hey, submit you an offer." I got the offer in an email, and it was like, "Here it is, 700 grand." There was nothing. It was a proof of funds and offer, and it was just basic, nothing at all. Which they're a lowball offer. We're listed at 800. I had a second agent that called me 4 times. I got this question. I got this question. I got this question. Hey, my clients are this. My clients were just there. They got 2 little girls. And some sellers don't want the love letter, others do. I always tell my clients, if you can write that love letter, talk about your family, how it's going to be amazing for them living there, you can always present it. And if the listing agent says, no, my sellers don't want those, they can just move it to the side. It's no big deal. You can ask that question as you're going through. Also, I forgot to add that in here. But then I had another agent was like, hey, so what do I need to do to be the best? And I was like, well, full price would be great. And then, anything else. And didn't ask me anything else. Like, hey, I need to know this, that, and the other thing. But there was no relationship. There was no, and the other agent had made all those questions. I, of course, went to my sellers and said, hey, I said, these 2 offers are the same. And actually, this offer is probably 5 grand better. I go, but this is that family that had the 2 little girls. The agent told me they were talking to you guys all about where they're going to put horses over here, and the girls can't wait to go swimming in the pool. They're like, oh, yeah, their dad was a firefighter, and they go to the little school right down the street. Like, we really liked that family. I'm like, okay, so they're a lower offer. Let's get them up to higher, at least to be better than the current offer. And let's go with them because you'll be happy. So they now ended up with the best price and the family that they felt would be great to take on this. They lived there for 30, my clients lived there for 36 years. So there was this amazing opportunity to bond because that agent called and built rapport with me throughout the process. So I know I've been talking for the last 30 minutes. What questions you guys have? What are your thoughts on this? Do all of you do this already? What pieces are you going to add to your offer as you go through?
Hey Gary, so do you call them after you submit an offer and video text as well?
So no, I'll just do the video text. I usually have
Okay.
called them and said, listen, I'm in the process of writing my offer right now. Expect it in the next 3 to 4 hours. We're just finalizing the details. And if something happens, I'm like, hey, husband got called into work. It's going to be, tomorrow by the time I get the offer. But anytime I have a change, I try and make a call. I want them to hear my voice. I want them to, hear tone and inflection. Text message, yes, is fast and quick. And yes, I do that with clients throughout the process. But when I'm trying to build a relationship and build that bridge, 100%, I want them to hear my voice as much as I humanly can.
I see.
So
Thank
great
you.
question. Yep. Irene, you've been doing this a little while. Do you employ any of these tactics?
Yeah, all of them.
Good. Awesome. I
Wait.
love it.
I I always communicate a lot when I'm the buyer's agent. I communicate a lot with
Yeah.
the listing agent.
Good. Awesome. Another thing I do in the title sometimes, I'll do highlighted, I'll do bold, I'll do emojis, and I'll put like best offer ever or best offer you've ever seen, crazy stuff like that, just to grab something that grabs their attention. But I always put the address of the property inside the title as well, just FYI. Okay, Jason, I know it's been a little while since you've been in the game. What did you do when you were in the game before? Did you guys present offers like this at all? And you're on mute.
Yes, I'm very talkative. You know, you're gonna be my best friend. We're gonna
Yep.
do a lot of deals. So I've always just communicated just like this.
Cool.
Like I've known you forever. Let's get this done and move on to the next one.
Yep. Awesome.
You know, when I started, we didn't have the phone, so to send the messages, we had fax machines.
Oh man, I remember those days when I was doing REOs, man. Everything was coming in faxes and
Yeah.
emails were dot matrix printers, and I was like, this is ridiculous.
Yeah, the bullet points, just like you said, just opening the deal and you're just looking at the how many days and the number. I didn't do the bullet points.
Yeah.
So yeah, having the bullet points on a nice entry page or first page would be good.
Yeah. It's just a nice little piece, like I said, especially because so many people are on this phone. It's like, can I get to the details as fast as I can? And yeah, I can push this button, get an email, and go, okay, Gary Meek, 123 Main Street, 410. That kind of sucks, but hey, $20,000 deposit, blah blah blah. Oh, the rest of this is pretty damn good. Price is gonna suck, but whatever. And then I
Yeah.
get, and then they get my text message. It's like, yo, I just sent you the best offer ever. Robin, I can't wait to work with you. What's going on? And then, I get a message back like, hey, got your offer. Thanks. 410, we'll see what I can do. The rest of it looks good, whatever. But there's that interaction. It's that constant
Yes.
involvement. Cool. Well, this was quick and easy. Sorry, guys. I don't do like slideshows and all the things. It's a Word doc. It's super
So-
easy, super bullet pointed. This video will be up on YouTube and then obviously sent to
Gary?
the group. But yes, ma'am.
Before you totally wrap up, do you pivot much of this when you're working with multi-family units like small apartment complexes or fourplexes or things like that? Because I'm working with a commercial guy who's pretty stoic at the moment.
Yeah, so great question. And most of us are not going to do a bunch of, bigger units, but 1, 2, 3, 4 units, that's at mom and pop. Someone's going to live in one, rent the other out, or it's, someone buying their very first investment. There's still emotion attached to that. But when you're dealing with an investor who's like, listen, I own 40 doors. I'm buying another fourplex, or I'm buying my fifth, I'm buying a sixplex now. It is going to be more specific to numbers. Hey, we ran the numbers and it is a 6% cap based on this much loan amount, blah, blah, blah. It's going to be probably a little bit more detailed. And you're going to see different things like pro formas and offering memorandums. Those are going to be positioned a little differently. Also, with commercial, a lot of times the first initial offering is a letter of intent. It's really like, hey, my buyer has interest in your property at 123 Main Street, that sixplex, and we're thinking about a $1.4 million offer. We'll get to terms later. Is this even of interest to you guys? Yeah, we'll entertain that. Cool. Then we'll go into further detail. So it's done a little bit differently. The way I'm talking, you're right, is definitely more emotion engaged, because you got families that are moving into that house that are like, oh, I can see my kids growing up here and they want to be able to ride their bike to the elementary school and things like that. So it's a little bit different. Yes, I would agree. All right.
Hey Gary, can you share this document somehow, or can you email it to me? I tried taking a picture and it's all fuzzy.
Yeah. This will go out in an email to the group today. Hey, here's a copy of our coaching. The video link as well as this will be all together. Correct.
Cool.
Yep.
Thank you.
All right. Appreciate you guys for showing up today. Have a wonderful day. Don't forget Thursday, 11 to 4 over at Catavadera is the regional rally. And then tonight at 6 p.m. is the Matt Plummer special presentation. Matt is a financial planning kind of guy, does a lot with budgets. Zoom with Clarke, CLARKE.com, zoomwithclarke.com, 6 p.m. tonight. Other than that, you guys have a great day, and we will see you tomorrow on the calls.
Thanks, Gary.
Bye.
Take care.